So please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for having me. It's a pleasure to be back to GBS News and talk about South Sudan. I'm grateful for the opportunity. My name is Buoth. I'm a South Sudanese and the chairperson of a community-based organization known as South Sudan Elite Community. Is an organization of South Sudanese from the northern states known as Unity States or Ligi States, whose governor is Dr. Joseph Twil. This organization was established in 2010 ahead of the international monetary referendum that brought to fruition the independence of the Republic of South Sudan. I remember at that time, South Sudanese were given an opportunity to vote in Kenya, and that organization was established at that time to be able to mobilize people to vote for the historic referendum that they have been waiting for many years. So we established that, and after that process was over, people felt that that organization was going to be used as a medium for interaction to preach the rights of education, the right of women, and to link its members here and back home in South Sudan. That's the brief information of the organization that I lead. I'm also a peace activist and certified professional mediator. Thank you so much. That is what I can say about me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Mr. Dak. Now, Mr. Dak, we know that the war in South Sudan is not totally over through the transitional government of national unity.
Yes.
What can you tell us is the current situation right now on the ground pertaining the country of Sudan?
The situation at the moment is very promising situation in the sense that people are experiencing a bit of peace. There's a bit of calm. The situation, the crisis have slowed down. Start when President Salva Kiir and Dr. Riek Machar signed the 2018 peace agreement. So the conflict has been slowing down, and I can say it is promising. They are now in a positions to complete the implementations of the agreement. Of course, there are many provisions that have not been touched yet, and we are hopeful that the leaders will see it that these things can be done in a shorter time possible,
Yes.
so that citizens can transition into peace. It is too early. I'm afraid to say South Sudan has a peace, because peace means absence of war. In as much as there is peace, but there has also been conflict among communities. Communal violence have also been happening across the country, and there are also other opposition parties, which we call the non-signatory South Sudanese oppositions, who have had a reservation on the peace agreement.
Yes.
They're saying they could not sign the peace agreement because the peace agreement was not reached. It has not captured the cause of the conflict. So they abstain from signing the agreement. They have been also in conflict with the government of national unity. Those forces are forces led by the grantor group, the SPLM Kigwang Declaration. There has been a forces of South Sudan United Front led by Paul Malong, forces led by General Cirillo, the former Secretary General Fagana Mom, among others. Forces also led by Deng Yang Banang. There are several groups that have also been in conflict with the South Sudan, but we can't compare it to the previous time when Machar and Kiir were fighting. So that's why I say the situation is promising, because the government is also in talk with those non-signatory groups in Rome. There's a mediation that is being facilitated by the San Egidio, which is a church institution based in Rome. So the government had been in talk with them. That's why I say the situation in South Sudan is promising. It is taking us forward, and we are pushing the stakeholders to ensure that everything is expedited within the shortest time possible so that people can go into elections and choose the leader of their choice.
Well said, Mr. Dark.
Yes.
Mr. Dark, can you tell us a little bit of the upcoming elections, whether the incumbent President Salva Kiir will be contesting?
Yes, that's a very good question. You remember the first election was supposed to be conducted in 2015. That was our first election.
Yes.
But then conflict occurred, and it occurs because the challenges that were happening within the political party then, the ruling party then, which is still the ruling party, the Sudan People Liberation Movement, where Machar and Kiir were together. Machar was the deputy of Kiir at that time. So there was some dispute on how intra-SPLM elections was going to be conducted. The SPLM elections had provisions that there was going to inter-party election were going to be conducted through a ballot. So there was a dispute over that until the president, I think the president at that time, sacked the cabinet senior member of the SPLM party, and that wrangles led to the eruption of the conflict in 2013. The agreement, which is the 2018 peace agreement, known as the revitalized agreement on the conflict in South Sudan, provides in Article 1, subsection 2, provide for national elections. There are many conditions that are provided for elections to be done. One of those conditions are that there was going to be a political party act. The political party act of 2012 was going to be, revisited and done in a manner that it's subscribed to the international best standard and practice.
These articles been there all along?
No, that's the article that's provided in the agreement that's being implemented. Okay. I'm talking of the agreement that is the revitalized agreement. Yes. I'm giving you what that agreement says about election. It says in that article that 6 days, that is 2 months after the signing of the agreement, the stakeholders and the government, revitalized government national transition was going to, look at the act, the political party act, and made it in a way that it's conform with the international standard and practice. After that is done, that bill is prepared by the parliament. After that is ascended, and then now there was going to be a political parties council, which is a body that is expected now to ensure that parties that were going to contest in that elections are monitored, given some rules and guidelines on how they should conduct themselves during the campaign and after the elections. So I am aware that the political parties act has been revisited and has been presented before the president, pending assent. And what is remaining now is the formation or the establishment of the Political Parties Council, which is the body that is expected to regulate, to ensure that, or to regulate the parties and to ensure that those parties that are going to, to contest are registered, pending, the conditions that are required for modern political parties. Yes. So until those things are done, we can say, there are certain things that have not been done, but we have until September for us to say we'll now go for elections in 2024. An election is one of the key roadmap that has been provided in agreement, because people wanted to exercise the democracy that we have lacked, that we've been denied of. Our forefathers, our freedom leaders have fought, including the president and vice president, many others, have fought for us to have a country governed by the rule of law. People have a right to self-rule. Self-rule means citizens are to go to ballot and choose the leaders they want. That means they will be the one directly, involved in government by choosing the leaders of their choice. Those are the values that we fought for. We've just yesterday, days, 2 days, we're now celebrating the 12th anniversary of our country independence. It's a moment for us to reflect on how far we've come as a country, and where we are going, and it's a moment also to ask ourselves, those of us, the citizens who are alive, to remember positively the roles of those who have sacrificed their life for us to have a country today. It's a moment for us also to reflect and ask ourselves what we can do.
Sure. Well, Mr. Dak,
yes.
After you say that the incumbent President Salva Kiir will be contesting for this upcoming election among them.
Yes.
Now, what is your take on these upcoming elections? Do you think they'll be fair? Will they be fair and square? This will be the first time.
Yes, we expect it to be fair. The reason being, we have learned from our mistakes. We have learned from our blunders, political blunders that we have made. Because this conflict occurs as a result of mismanagement of transition, of election processes within the party and at the national level. I believe the leaders, from their faces, from their facial expression, you find that they have regretted.
Yes.
They have regretted, because you look at it, what brought us into conflict was a dispute over elections.
Yes.
People have fought. You've talked of 400,000 killed.
Yes.
You've talked of millions displaced. If we had managed our election process, we would have not come into this mess. We would not have our sisters, mothers, and sisters killed. Yeah. Now we have come back to the same thing, because the transformation of our country into a democratic state is not something that we will play around with. It is as clear as the way we wanted self-determination.
Sure.
You can play around with it, you can take us around, but we will still come into it. So I believe there will be a free and fair election, because our leaders, the citizens themselves, have learned. They have learned from their mistakes. And I believe they are going to finish the remaining conditions within a very short time possible, so that citizens can have a fair election, similar to the referendum we have had. The international community will also be involved. IGAD and other stakeholders will be involved in ensuring that the first elections will be conducted in a manner that satisfies all the Democrats in the region and across the world.
All right. Wow, well said, Mr. Dak.
Yes.
There is another concern
Yes.
I would like to ask.
Yes.
Right now, there's fight in Sudan.
Yes.
And many of the Sudan people,
Yes.
they are coming back to South Sudan,
Yes.
where they ran away from.
Yes.
And when we look at the situation in the Unity State,
Yes.
especially in the Rakoma County,
Yes.
we see that the IDPs right
Yes.
now, they're going to the Rotriak
Yes.
IDP camp.
Yes.
When you look at the humanitarian crisis,
Yes.
they are saying that according to OCHA 2023,
Yes.
that even it is not like it is 40%
Yes.
sponsored, it is under-sponsored
Yes.
for those people to be able to be taking their needs. And there's like 43,000 Sudanese who are coming there and who have their needs that need to be met.
Yes.
And the chances even of them of salvation are even being higher, because now the number is big.
Yes.
It's an expected situation.
Yes.
Now, what is your take on this? What do you say?
Thank you for bringing that question, Jennifer. I come from that particular state, but I'm happy the governor of that particular state, has been doing enough, has been doing a lot in ensuring that Rufkon is a county within Unity State. It actually is a county where the state capital is situated, Bentiu. That's where that's Rufkona.
Yes.
You remember, Unity State itself is a northern state. It's heavily affected, just like other northern states, because there are states that border Sudan. That's beginning from Upper Nile, Unity State, in part of Jonglei, Warabi State, all the way to Abyei, in northern Bahr al-Ghazal. But Unity State has appeared to have been the most affected states by the number of people coming to South Sudan.
Yes.
So it has really overwhelmed the state government, and the problem is that the state government has already had challenges. That state have had disastrous drought. I mean, the flood.
Even before.
Even before. It have had a problem. The Nile was, water were pouring over. Many 1,000 people were displaced.
Before its
So
purpose
that
was for the IDPs?
Rodiak, yes, of course, yes.
Yes.
Even within the capital and other counties, starting from the county of Panyindiar,
Yes.
counties of Lair, Mayandit, all the way to Mayom.
Yes.
So the entire, Unity State was flooded by water. So it found a state, this Sudan crisis has found Unity State in a very, very dire situation. But I'm happy the governor of that particular state and its government are doing everything possible to ensure that they receive those people with open hand. And we even here in Kenya who are from that state have expressed gratitude because we are seeing that that's the manner we were received before. And if those people are receiving people of Sudan in a manner that is very good, I think we feel it is nice. That Rodiak is a place that was recently established by the governor, Dr. Joseph Menmentuil. It's a rice area. Yeah, that was not affected by the conflict. Like I told you, the flood issue had really affected the populations. Yes. People have not cultivated. People have been relying on the UN aid. And this latest crisis that have occurred in Sudan has really puts the people into a situation that they cannot imagine. Because remember, look at when such a number had come into your house, sometimes it required the intervention of individual families. Yeah, people came and find themselves. Their parents have also been displaced. They could not go there. The government has also been grappling with the displaced population within its own states. But there are a lot of NGOs that have also taken up the role of assisting the government like they have done before. We hope that the situation in Sudan can really subside. Looking at the IGAD mediation, they are now trying to see that the parties can come together so the citizen can be able to also get a space to get out and also settle. Exactly. So that particular state has been going through a lot, and I'm happy that they are doing their best to ensure that they accommodate those displaced persons and giving them place to sleep, which can also supply. The Unity State is also fertile. It's also fertile ground. I think when the rain start falling, they'll be able to cultivate for themselves. They'll be able to wait for better things to come.
Okay.
Yes.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well, because of time, I could have asked you a lot. I would really like to learn to hear a lot from you.
Yes.
And I believe you're going to have another sitting to talk further about the situation
Yes.
because even the elections are coming up.
Yes.
We talked about IGAD. There's so much surrounding the IGAD.
Yes.
There's so much that we need to expound on this.
Yes.
So right now, there are those who are from South Sudan who are looking at you, who are listening to this conversation.
Yes.
They're anticipating to this election being the first since independence.
Yes.
We're talking of since July 2011.
Yes.
So they're anticipating. What would you like to tell them?
What I would tell them is that my fellow South Sudanese and members of the East African community, because South Sudan is an island, and many people, international friends, who have struggled so much, who have gone to the front line, who fought gallantly to ensure that South Sudan become independent, and not just independent, but also democratic states. We are inspired by the struggle of people of Kenya who have come through many stages. My message to them is that citizens, individually and collectively, have a role to play in ensuring that we have democratic elections. Currently, we have three themes. One of it is peacemaking, which is being handled by intergovernmental organizations for development, IGADs. We have peace, keeping. Those are being done by United Nations Mission on South Sudan. We have also another theme called the peace building. Peace building is what is required it's what is supposed to be done by citizens to be able to talk to themselves at group level, at grassroots level, to build peace, to build reconciliation. Reconciliation is also provided in one of the chapters of the agreement. It requires the government of national unity to constitute a joint team that will go to the grassroots and ensure that they express themselves, express their grievances, so that they can, transition to peace. So we have peace building, and peace building is one of the requirements for a free and fair election, because an election that is done in an insecure environment cannot be said to be free. We first need to have a complete peace, a total peace in South Sudan, so that we can have citizens coming home from a lot of displacement.
Well said.
A number of people have been displaced in Kenya, in Uganda, in Ethiopia, many neighboring countries. Those people need to be promised, need to be assured that South Sudan is peaceful, so that they can come back home and contribute in elections that they have been waiting for. We've had elections. Kenya have had a many number of elections from the time South Sudan have had conflict. They are tired of watching elections from other countries. They want to practice that.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to give that opportunity, and it's one of the objectives which we fought for as South Sudanese. So my message to the people of South Sudan across the world, particularly in Kenya, is to play a role. Play a role. The whole idea of peace is multi-sectoral. It needs the contributions and hand of everybody. You can demand for women contribution, demand for youth contributions, and demand that everybody participate. And public participation is required. It's a democratic principle. So I encourage all of us to stand up, to play a role, to monitor, to advise leaders that they can access, participate in group, form organizations, and make proposals to the leaders on how elections can be done. Because without that, the leaders will have little to talk about, to discuss, both at parliament and at the grassroots level. So I encourage my leadership in this 20th anniversary of our independence to change tax, to have a change of heart, that death and war and killing cannot be a business as usual. We need to take a break from it and do things in a manner that is expected of us by our international friends who have assisted us in our struggle. They will be happy. Some of us have doubted our commitment because when we were fighting independence, there were people who were saying these people cannot manage ourselves. But the argument was that look at our cousins, look at our friends from other regions. They are doing it. We also can do it. So I think this is time for us to do that.
Mr.
Thank you so much.
That is well said.
Thank you.
And we really wish South Sudan all the best in these upcoming elections. As you say, they play their part.
Thank you.
They contribute
Yes.
towards peace and each and every single thing, having learned from the past lessons.
Yes.
Well, viewers, you have listened to what Mr. Daka said concerning South Sudan, our young upcoming nation. So we put them in our prayers and we hope the best for them and a peaceful election. We are looking forward to follow up on the same topic continuously as the elections are coming up. I'm Jennifer. Goodbye.